Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us at In the Know. We're catching up with some of your favorite celebs, reality TV stars, and more direct from their homes. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and today we're joined by DJ Shangela Pierce, who stars on HBO's We're Here, a wonderful series that follows high-profile drag queens as they descend upon small-town USA to help people transform their lives through the power of drag. Shangela and I talked about the fun and emotional series, as well as quarantining with relatives in Paris, Texas, becoming one of the world's most mainstream drag queens, and continuing to support others in the drag community. Keep listening for my full interview with Shangela. So DJ Pierce, aka Shangela, how are you?
Well, hallelujah. I'm doing as fine can be at this time of craziness in our world right now. I am socially distancing and living my lockdown quarantine eternal life over here in Paris, Texas at my grandmother's home.
That must be so nice to have some kind of extended quality time with people that you don't normally get to see every single day. Some relatives.
Yeah. I mean, in a time where it's really rough for a lot of people in a lot of places,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had to change the way that I work, but I'll tell you, if there is a bright spot to be found, it is me being able to spend some time home with my family. I mean, I'm a diva on the go. Okay, I'm a working girl. I got a song that says it. In 2018, I did a 184 city tour around the world. So this is the longest, these 2 months, really, a little over 2 months now. It's been the longest that I've spent at home since I think I was 18.
Wow.
And I graduated.
Wow. And have you reevaluated anything in this time because of that? Because I mean, because again, you are a go person. Is there anything that you have realized or kind of, I don't know, it does cause you to just kind of reset your mindset a little bit?
Well, it's really nice to be reconnected physically with my family. I think it's going to be really hard when I have to leave them again to get back on the road or go back to my home in LA because it's really sweet. You know, my grandmother is 82 and I'm really close with her and I keep in touch a lot. But in physically being here, it's funny because every morning when I go to wake her up, and I walk in her room like, "Good morning, Graham." And she goes, "Oh," and she gets this big smile. She goes, "You're still here."
We're here, baby. We are here to
We're
stay.
here.
Yes.
That's
I love
right.
that. That is adorable. And again, that warms my heart because again, that is kind of just a silver lining for people. If you do have those people that you can spend extra time with, you know, that's good. That's a positive way of looking at this, I think. And I think, We're Here, speaking of, it has been a really bright light for some people over the past several weeks since it premiered during this time. What's it been like to have the show premiere during a lockdown? And how have you just been seeing how people have been responding to it?
Well, at first, we knew the show was going to premiere during this time of, stay-at-home orders. I was like, oh no, because we had so many huge efforts that we had put a lot of work behind. We're going to be premiering at the South by Southwest Festival, which is a huge thing, especially for an undocumented and for an unscripted series like ours, and working with a network like HBO. We had a lot of events planned around Prides for the advertising specifically. There were these huge investments on billboards and the sides of buildings on Sunset Boulevard in LA. I was at Times Square. I mean, so that was very, it was difficult because I felt like, oh my gosh, not as many people are going to know about the show because we can't promote it in the ways that we had wanted to.
And in some ways, it must have felt like the moment was kind of being taken away from you just in a sense, but I'm assuming you guys
initially, yes, that was the feeling. Like, oh no, we worked so hard on this project and maybe as many people aren't going to be able to see it because we're not going to be able to promote it the way that we originally planned. But you know what? And not just drag queens, because drag queens, we are resourceful divas, okay?
100%. That's part of the DNA of being a drag queen, I feel.
Yes, but also everyone associated with this show learned how to pivot. And I'm going to use a little dance term there. You put that foot, you pivot, you turn. And we pivoted, and I think came up with other creative ways to still get the word out about the show. And then the beauty, we would have never anticipated coming out or premiering our show during the time of pandemic. But this is a time when people really needed something that was a bright spot, that was something that reconnected them with the spirit of compassion, which reminded us of our humanity, and the joy that we have when we're connected together as a global community. And also about accepting others and listening to other people's stories. I think we ended up getting in front of a lot more people.
I agree. I mean, there are more people watching TV, and like just in general. So that is a positive of this,
Yeah, and isn't it cool to have a good project to have out there during this time as well?
Yes, it's not just like it's not filler, it's not whatever. It's really does have substance, and again, like people are looking for that, and I think you guys are really filling a gap for a lot of people.
I'm really grateful to be a part of this project. Yes.
Yeah. So when I watched the first episode of We're Here, I was reminded of, I went through my own first drag makeover last June. Alexis Michelle gave me a makeover, and there's a video documenting. And it really, something came from the inside of me that it was shown for the first time. You know what I mean? It really felt empowering. I felt more confidence. And I think it really just channels something that people don't even realize they have inside themselves. Is that just sort of, is that kind of the effect that you want this show to have, is just sort of like people really looking inward and finding that, because everyone does have that confidence in themselves. They just have to find it.
Yeah, well, let me say first, if you had Alexis Michelle giving you a drag makeover, honey, you got one from the best divas.
Oh, okay. I'll send you a photo later, because it was top notch.
Oh, she can put a look together.
My name was Gabriella. That's my queen name, and it gave me life. So,
just tell me though, were you green though?
Yes.
That reminds me of that moment when she was on stage and Michelle can go, but why is she green though? I love Alexis, and I'm so happy for her and all my sisters on the new Dragnificent show too, on TLC.
On TLC, right?
Yeah, for us on We're Here, I think that a big part of it that we want people to take away is the fact, that to be able to embrace the transformative power of drag, and to see something greater themselves maybe than they did before we got there. But another big part of this show is about bringing out and helping unearth these communities of support in the most random places, most conservative places that you wouldn't typically assume that there would be communities of support. And then showing our drag participants and our locals that, you don't have to leave this town in order to have people that support you. Let's look around and help find them. When I grew up in my small town of Paris, Texas, I remember my main goal being a young gay Black person was like, all right, I love this place, but I can't wait to be 18 to get out of here so I can, I didn't have any visible, out loud and proud, many examples around me of people that I saw. And so I wanted to go a place where I felt comfortable fully being myself. And I think a lot of people don't feel comfortable being themselves in small towns, but in my town, we didn't have like a local resource center. We didn't have any drag shows. We had nothing to bring people together who did think alike or support the LGBTQ community and show that support. We're hoping to do that with this show.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the first time that you felt that? I mean, obviously you weren't feeling that in your hometown, but was there a moment when either you saw somebody in the media, was it RuPaul, or was it once you broke out, when you really felt that? Do you remember that moment for yourself?
Well, I remember a couple little moments. Like when I saw, my mom had the RuPaul Supermodel of the World album. And I remember finding that amongst her CDs and seeing, RuPaul on the cover and this man dressed, in this beautiful, Cher inspired looking gown with the gold hair on top. And I was like, oh my God, a music artist, like a famous one that is a drag queen. How cool. It kind of validated me dancing around the bathroom with my towel on and the other towel wrapped up on my head.
And the fact that your mom had that CD too, you know what I mean? Like that's amazing.
Well, my mom was always a very she was well traveled
Good. Yeah,
in
that's amazing.
individual. She served in the military, so she had lived all over. She met and knew people from all different walks of life, from all different places in the world, and she really instilled that love of adventure in me, and also inclusivity,
It's
because she had
amazing.
friends from all walks of life. So yeah, that was one of the moments. And another one I'll never forget, when we were my mom kind of got lost, or maybe she was just giving me a little window to life, my future. But in Dallas, once we were driving there, and we ended up on a street, which is like the neighborhood in Dallas, called Oak Lawn or Cedar Springs. And I
Mhm.
remember I saw two men holding hands on the street, and I was like, and no one's turning, and no one's, and I was just glued to the window. Just even seeing that representation
For the first
validated me.
time. Totally. And not attacked for it, not questioned for it. That's really, yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing. Um, and I found the first episode of We're Here very affecting. Specifically your drag daughter and kind of the relationship with her parents and you convincing the dad to come and participate in the show was so major and so, I don't know, like if you had seen him at the beginning of the episode, you would never have expected him to even think about that. um Talk to me about those moments, because I feel like it must be hard to like not say that, to think about not saying the right thing, or because these are real relationships, real families, real people's journeys. Was that, were you ever like questioning it, or you just kind of like you knew what the end goal was here? How did you kind of approach those moments?
Well, you're right. This is a real life series. And, Shangela, I said it in RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm Shangela, I keep it real. And this is definitely a time in which I had to keep it real. And that required me to be very open and very honest and very authentic,
Mm-hmm.
and also be willing to listen as much as I wanted to be heard. And I think in walking to these spaces, originally, Hunter, that you specifically
Yeah,
bring up in
Hunter. Yes.
Gettysburg, that was our pilot episode. That was the first episode. We were kind of just figuring out what this show was going to be, and this was our first experience, at least mine, walking into a home that I knew none of the people, in a very conservative town where we saw Confederate flags flying everywhere.
Whew.
And I remember thinking, what gives me the right to be able to, I'm not a counselor, so I don't want to go in here like preaching to people
Totally.
and thinking that I have all the tools to help, quote unquote, fix what's wrong
Mm-hmm.
here. And I had to ask myself, and I journaled about it. And I remember thinking, you know what? You have worked on yourself. Me talking to myself, I was saying, I've worked on myself enough in the last 10 years, as a drag entertainer, and then even more of that as a person, that's brought me to this place. So all I can do is go in here and be honest and share with them the experiences that I've had, the feelings that I felt because of them, what I know, from my relationship with Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and how through what I've learned in my experiences, what's worked for me and what hasn't. Will it work for this family? I don't know. But if y'all are willing to talk to each other, I know that's a huge step
Mm-hmm.
first. And they were so open and
They
committed to showing love.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, even just you sitting around their kitchen table with them and seeing that they had brought, I mean, there was like 8 people at that table, and they all wanted to be part of that conversation and talk some of these things out. And that's honestly all you can really ask for at the end of the day, is for them to want to participate and try to be better, you know?
Well, Shanji loves to eat dinner with a family, okay? I'm from Texas. I likes to eat. And somehow in every episode,
You were
at least
eating?
in 50% of the episodes, I know Gettysburg, definitely in Twin Falls, Idaho, and tonight, we're about to have the newest episode in Ruston, Louisiana. I go to dinner with my drag kids and their families. So yeah,
Hey,
Shanji likes to eat.
you'll share your wisdom in exchange for food, and that's just kind of that's a done deal right there.
I mean, but don't the most open and best conversations happen at a dinner table?
100%.
There's no TV, there's no phones, you're not distracted. It's just y'all staring at each other or staring at your plate. And it opens the space for a conversation. A lot of times when you're sitting around a table, you're already looking at each other. Best business deals a lot of times happen at a table.
Yeah,
People sitting
totally.
around discussing.
Meeting of the
And
minds.
yeah, and then also people I found in working with the families and working with my drag daughters, a lot of times over a meal, people let their guards down. When we're filming a show, we've got cameras walking around, we've got, PAs and production people in the background and all that. So it can be sometimes really unsettling for people who aren't accustomed to being in front of a camera to forget that the cameras are there. But when you have an activity or something like a dinner that we're all sitting around, I remember when I ate in Twin Falls with Brandon and Michaela and Brandon's family. His mom was serving this Spanish meal called albondigas, right? It's a Mexican or Spanish meal called albondigas. And I couldn't pronounce it. I kept saying albondigas, abadonas, honey, abominable. I didn't know what it was.
You tried.
Yes. But you know what? That was a moment everyone was laughing. We were just having fun. And I had never eaten albondigas before. So the mom totally, the family forgot about that there are cameras around and just started having real conversations in addition to trying to get Shangela to pronounce correctly albondigas and enjoy and eat them.
Love it. I mean, kill two birds with one stone right there.
Hallelujah.
And it's also been interesting watching this during quarantine in that each show ends with a drag show or each episode ends with a drag show. And I have personally found it simultaneously cathartic to watch these amazing emotional moments and just be entertained, but also feeling a little bit reminded of the places that we can't be going right now. It's such a weird dichotomy of feeling, at least for me. And have you found that at all? Kind of in this experience?
Baby, you must have a CIA probe over my granny's house right now, because just this morning, I was looking for videos to post on my Instagram, about tonight's episode. And there was one in the episode for Ruston, Louisiana that you'll see that we do solo numbers in addition to our partner numbers and the numbers that we do with our drag daughters. And I'd done a Beyonce medley, and there were so many people that showed up for this show. We couldn't fit them all in the building. So they were watching like a live feed outside on the patio.
Wow.
Because there were just too many people to get in the building. And so during my number, I ran through the kitchen and out to the patio and surprised them and kept performing because, I was like telling the producers, make sure there are speakers out there because Shanji's going to turn the party, baby. And just being in the midst of all those people, there was no stage. I'm dancing outside on this concrete patio surrounded by these people, and they were just so electric. And it reminded me what I love so much about performing is the energy that I get back from the crowd. It's the faces of the people who are just so, they're living, they're excited, they're happy, they're joyous, whatever the moment is. They feel it the way I feel it. And when I hit that final pose, the single ladies, and you hit that, and they just lit up. It reminded me of every time that I've done that around the world over the last, 10 years, and that swell of emotion and a crowd and people being together. And I was sad.
Yeah.
I was thinking, and I asked my mom this because I was like, I love to show my mom, look, mama, look what I did. And I was like, are we ever going to get back to this? Are we ever going to have this moment again? Am I ever going to be able to take $1 safely out of the hand of a person tipping me?
It's wild to think about. It's like those little tiny things that we took for granted. And
right.
I mean, what does it look like? And it just, it kind of boggles your mind to think.
But I'll tell you, I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. I am hopeful, whether it's for a vaccine, whether it's for, just us figuring this out scientifically, or if we have to do what I said earlier, pivot. Right. And figure out a new way.
New reality.
To still be connected, but we get the job done. We still can do it. I believe in us. I believe in us as humanity. I believe in us as people. It may be different, but guess what? We will make it work to get that feeling back because it's a good feeling.
We need it back for sure.
Child, who you telling? I loved it. I know. Who am I
talking to? We're Here is just one of your many truly mainstream moments as a drag queen, which is it does, to me, I don't take that lightly because it's 10 years, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, drag queens were much less visible. And, you were on the Time 100 Next Gen list. You walked the red carpet of the Oscars, the first person to do that in drag. You just had a profile in the New York Times. You're on Katie Keene. Like, you've had all these moments, and I'm curious, like, what does it mean for you to truly have broken through and truly, because you have, and there's no stopping you. Like, there's new heights that you'll reach, I'm sure. But, maybe this moment has allowed you to reflect on that a little bit. But what does it mean? What does that mean for you? Because it's really special and it really is rare.
Uh, that's very, thank you, first of all. Whenever I hear that stuff back that I've done, I'm always like, oh yeah, I did do that, huh?
Yeah.
Because I was just saying this to a friend of mine the other day, and this just goes to, I think, how my brain is wired and how I work. And I was saying to my friend, I can't wait till one day when I make it, we're gonna go on this vacation, da, da, da. And my friend was like, what do you mean when you make it? You made it, you made, and I'm like, I don't feel that. And I know that all these big moments really do matter, but a lot of times I'm so on the go and always, I think it's the way my brain is wired because I grew up with all these examples of hard work. In my life, my mom worked really hard. She was a military veteran, and she sometimes when she was back home would hold down 2-3 jobs at a time. My grandpa was a farmer, and he was up in the morning before the sun, getting stuff done. And that's how I've always been. I never got, the RuPaul's Drag Race crown or like a golden ticket to go out there and
right.
Here's a team that's doing it for you. So I've always worked and pushed myself. And I have a great team now that I work with, but all of them will tell you, she sends emails at 4:00 in the morning. Somebody put that woman to bed. And because I always have this, it's not a fear, it's a desire to
right. You're insatiable.
I want to do everything. And I remember one time a guy told me, you know what, I love your work ethic, and it feels like you want to be a jack of every trade and a master of none. And I'm like, no, that's not the thing. I would love to be a master of all the trades.
Yeah.
And
that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, thank you very much. Now, it is exhausting at times, but it's what I want in this world. And I remember I was at Tyler Perry's studio opening in Atlanta in October. I went with Jennifer Lewis. Oh, it was so, everybody Black Hollywood.
Everyone was there, right?
Everybody Black Hollywood, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. Okay, they Black
my
too.
God.
So everybody was there. And I remember in Tyler's speech, right before the big giant doors, opened into this unveiling. It was Tyler Perry. It was extravagant. It was fabulous. It was huge. And he said, the one thing I learned, I was at an Oprah event once when I was first kind of getting my footing, and I got an invitation to an event at Oprah's, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? This is so amazing. And I remember she said to me, Tyler, you just need to dream bigger. We put ourselves sometimes we have a certain extent we think our dreams can go, and that's where we stop. And I don't want to do that to myself. After hearing him, I said, you know what? I should dream bigger. Yes, I walked the carpet at the Oscars. That was lovely. But next time I want to be nominated for an Oscar.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Dream bigger. Yes, I'm so thankful to be guest starring on Katie Keene, but I'm hoping to have a series starring Shangela one day. And what do I need to do? I'm not going to sit here and wait for somebody to bring it to me. What can I do to be involved in the process of making it happen? And that's why I keep working so much.
Give Devereaux that spinoff, baby.
Okay, Devereaux. I gotta say a huge shout out to Michael Grassi and the writers over there at Katie Keene, and also the cast. They were also welcoming me into their family. But they had actually written me to come back as a recurring character. But in the time we were also filming We're Here, so the scheduling wouldn't work out. But I hope if that show gets a second season, I would love to go back again.
Yeah, bring her back as a recurring character. Come on now.
Oh my God. And I got to name her Devereaux.
Oh, that's fine.
I know they originally named the character Shangela, and I was like, well, she's kind of a bitch, and I don't think that's necessarily how thank y'all for writing me in that way. Thank you so much for writing me in that way, but that's not how I see myself, and I don't necessarily want that to be how maybe the people that aren't familiar with me sees me. So I said, will you be open to me offering a name? And they said, sure. And I love Dynasty, right? Loved Dynasty. And Devereaux was the name of Diane Carroll's character. She was
Right.
Dominique Devereaux.
Right.
So that's why I offered the name
Love that
Devereaux.
homage. That's a nice homage right there.
It was so cool.
Oh,
I
that's
loved
so
it.
fun. And like now off this, now you have, I mean, you've had this for a while, but you have a huge platform. And I think that what's also so amazing about you is that you continue to support the community at large, and you support other drag queens, and you urge people to, especially right now, it's like urging them to find a way to tip them or find a way to support them virtually, whatever. Do you also feel a responsibility to do that now that you have this, like, your voice is really heard in a way, in ways that other people's aren't necessarily?
Yeah, I'm conscious that
Yeah.
I've been afforded this amazing worldwide platform, in which I'm thankful to have people listen when I write or say things a lot of times. And with that, I think comes a great responsibility. And that is to remember the shoulders upon which I stand.
Right.
And there were so many queens that not only helped me as, in becoming Shangela and that whole thing, but so many queens who first made me feel comfortable even being a gay person, feeling seen because they were out there doing their job, putting me in the backup dancing group in their pageants and all of that. I kind of grew up in the world of drag, just being excited and seeing so much of it and learning so much. So I think I owe it to all my sisters to always highlight as best I can what they're doing. Now, I can't do everybody.
No, it's
Lord
impossible.
knows I'd be exhausted and torn in a million pieces, never get my own stuff done. But as much as I can, I want to make sure that I am staying attached to my community in order to, keep us moving forward, all the queens.
Totally. Well, it was great talking to you. I'm so glad that we found this time, and I can't wait to see the rest of We're Here, because it's truly been a treat during this time.
Honey, I appreciate you. Thank you. And make sure you tell everybody Thursdays at 9:00. We're not done yet. We are still moving through this season. Hallelujah, HBO.
I'm putting that tune in for you. Just don't you wait.
And I thank you. All right. That's perfect. All right,
bye. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
For more stories from In the Know, go to intheknow.com. You can also follow In the Know on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and find me, Gibson Johns, on Instagram and Twitter at Gibsonoma. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.